Join us, MrTruck.com, for truck reviews, trailer reviews, and accessory reviews.
Well, howdy, folks. This is another MrTruck.tv interview. We're always trying to find the cool things to talk about that you may not see anywhere else. And today we have a guest from Shocker Hitch. He's like the president, the CEO, the head boss. His name is Bob Sagan, and he is the inventor of all these hitches. Shocker Hitch, has an airbag system on it. It's really popular in the hot shotters. It's popular everywhere. And they've done a really good job for, decades actually by now. I'm sure it is. Bob, you can tell me how old this project is, but you've made a lot of videos, and I've had you on my website. I have you on RFD TV, so you should be a well-known household name by now. But start telling me all about this new Shocker Hitch that has the shift lock on it, because I kind of understand it, but it looks a little complicated, even though it's not. It's just something that looks different than everybody else. So tell me all about your new shift lock on your new couplers.
So this will go back a few years. We've been building this hitch for over 10 years. And about 5 years ago, we ended up with a few coupler failures. And I had to look at it and say, what is going on here? Why are these couplers failing? So we started looking at the hitch balls. This, for example, is an old style hitch ball. It'll run forever. You'll put 1,000,000 miles on that, no wear, nothing will happen, everything's perfect. The new pickups were coming out, and they had an innovative hitch ball with a nice little lever, pretty slick. One thing they did is they had to machine out for that lever. So there's sharp little edges here on these hitch balls. Those sharp edges gouge into your couplers. Not only that, by having this hollowed out on top, we've reduced the surface area that your ball is going to ride on, so the energy is concentrated into a real small area, creating wear. This went on. We warrantied a number of different couplers. Finally, we said, we're going to have to do something. We started shopping for a better coupler, went to all the different manufacturers, checked out their products. Nothing really went to the level that we needed or were looking for. So we started going, let's get on the drawing board. Let's figure out something. We've got to fix this. One day, an employee of mine and I went to lunch, and we were talking. I said, what I would really like is a coupler that you could pull a lever and it locks on. Off the floor of the truck, easy to get at, simple to use, slick like that. So that set the parameter of how we're going to design this product. Let's get something that works with a shifter. So we started thinking and drawing up sketches and different ideas. And finally we came up with this shift lock coupler. Uses a key. So that slides over the ball, then engages, locks it. Really slick. Not only that, because we're using this key, we've also got more gimbal. We've got 35 degrees of gimbal. Most of your couplers have 17. You can back the hitch into a ditch and not lock it up or bind it or break it. Because of the wear factors that we were seeing, how do I say this? The original couplers, the couplers we were buying, were made in China with dead soft steel. I call that mud. We couldn't have that wear factor going on anymore. So what we did is we spec'd this coupler to be made out of chrome moly steel. We've heat treated it. Now it's wear resistant. It's as hard as this or maybe harder. Failures are gone.
Well, that's cool. So you stopped the gouging into the coupler problem. And is that the pin you use that you bolt that hooks onto your lever? Is that stainless steel? Is it a certain grade of metal, or what's it made out of?
So this is what we call 1045 steel. It's a good steel. The coupler itself is where the good quality steel is. So this is made out of 4140 chromoly steel, and then we heat treat it to size. Your normal couplers are about grade 2 steel, like a grade 2 bolt, and this is like a grade 5 bolt, much stronger.
Well, that's nice in the fact that it's a U-bolt shape, that it's got you're pushing on both sides of the ball instead of just one side like
Right.
everybody else has. That's really, I like that.
Yeah, better locking system.
Speaking of locks, so you've got a new lock for this great coupler now too. I mean, people ask me about that all the time. How do they lock their gooseneck? You know, they go to a horse sale. There's 1,000 white gooseneck trailers there. So you at least got the cool red colors on your hitch, but also they want to know if they can lock it in a simple way and leave the coupler on there and do all that. So what'd you come up with for a lock for your shift lock?
So what we did is we went to a lock company and we asked them, can you build us a lock, a good secure lock that'll fit this coupler? You might say it's out of our wheelhouse. That's not what we do, is build locks. So we went to the professionals that do build locks. And what they came up with, I thought, was very nice. It just simply slides in. It's got a second section. Slides into place like that. Uses a puck lock. It's that simple, that quick, that easy.
Well, that's awesome. I've used puck locks before at that same company you're talking about. I reviewed several of the locks, and that is one of the hardest locks to pick. My son was wanting to be a locksmith, so he took the classes, and I had 3 of them I was reviewing, gave him one, and it took him hours and hours to get enough tools in there. I mean, it's very, very hard to pick.
Right.
And you got to be professional in it. That's the whole idea, is you're slowing people down so they give up trying to steal your trailer to go to the next trailer. That's how it is, with the bear chasing. You got to just be faster than the guy next to you. So that works out really well. But yeah, it's a very good lock. I mean, I tested a bunch years ago, and I thought that puck was really the way to go. And you've got a system there that holds it in there, and that's good. It's like a double-sided. It's a special key too. It's not even easy to cut a key for those.
Right. And one of the other things that I might add about this, the thief can even take a hammer and try to beat it off. There's a guard around the puck lock. He can't get at it. Not with a pry bar, not with a hammer. No way. It's protected. It's shielded.
Well, that's good. When you got these $30,000, $40,000, $100,000 trailers, it's nothing to put a lock like that on. I really like that idea.
Yeah. We've got to protect our investments, and this is one way to do it.
That's awesome. One thing I forgot to mention when you were talking about that OEM, the factory one from all 3 of the big brands, and that little lever on it, is they have to drill a hole through it. And I really worry about a 30,000-pound trailer with a ball with a hole in the middle of it. That's stock
Right.
car racers. You don't see them drilling holes in their universal joints for greaser. They have no holes. You don't do that. And now we got all 3 of the OEMs doing that, and that
Right.
worries me. Someday we're going to see that ball split open. It's going to be bad.
Well, I haven't heard of any failures of that nature. The only thing I really, and I witnessed that wear problem many times. So that was my one concern, is that we're building a product that has to be compatible with somebody else's product. So that was what we were really up against, is how do we get a product that's compatible, that we never have to warranty somebody else's product because it failed, where ours held up, and then that gets to be a little frustrating when you're warranting other people's products.
Well, sure, and that's a good idea too, where you have your pin, your U-bolt goes on both sides of the bolt, both sides of the ball, so it's wearing on both sides, or it's holding on both sides. Where also the old type ones that just slid back and forth, they're just hitting that one side of the ball all the time. So you
right, and if they have an angle problem where the truck and the trailer are tipped at different angles, that coupler can bind up, and it may crack or break or fatigue, whatever it might be. So we've taken that out of the equation.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm going to recommend to people who have these new trucks with these new factory balls is, don't leave that ball in there for 100 years. Every year or so, buy a new one. I worry about that, and that's good. And you have this shift lock on a few other couplers too, don't you?
We do. So if you're going to have a world-class product like this, we have to make it available for other applications. And so, because we sell a lot into the horse trailer world, we came up with a 9-inch offset that uses the shift lock. You also now have the ability to put a lock on it. Pretty slick deal.
Well, that's good. You got to gut it on top and bottom of that bottom plate. That's a good way to build it.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's very strong. And of course, we sell a lot to hot shotters, people that are towing close to 100,000 miles a year. And what we did there, we just built a replacement stem. We've got them for all the different brands. And it uses the shift lock coupler. So now he's got a strong coupler, still can use the lock, doesn't have to get down on his hands and knees to engage the locking mechanism.
Well, that's cool, man. You know, I know whenever I've ordered a hitch from you, I would just call you up and tell you what the trailer brand was and a few things like that. You guys figured out your angle. But on your website, you actually list almost all the trailers out there and what their degree of angle is. And, you know, it's like you build each custom hitch as people order it, you know, or that they can tell you what brand it is. You got it made. That's, I don't know if anybody else is doing that. And that's nice because I know all the different horse trailer brands I've reviewed, gone to the factories. So many of them have a different angle, and some of them have a different angle on every hitch. It's really weird on some of the cheaper brands. So you've got a good way of dialing that in, and I really like that. That makes a lot of sense. Now I know we're talking about the shift lock coupler, but a lot of people don't understand how your actual airbag system, your teeter-totter with your bushings. Can you kind of go through that right quick on just how that air ride works? Because it really is easy to watch in the video of going over rough country. But yeah, please explain that.
Okay, so I'm going to pull the lock assembly off. Let's see. I'll get at it here. That's how quick that disengages.
Yeah, that's 20 seconds. That's nothing.
Right. So let's use a hitch ball. What we have, the truck pulls on the trailer. Once in a while you will feel the trailer buck and snap your neck back and forth. When that truck pulls and the trailer resists, sometimes it has a little bit of chucking. And every time that chucks, it snaps back into the airbag. And that will cushion the chuck. That's what takes that snap out. When you go over the bridge and you get that whiplash almost, the airbag will compress and then release. And that takes that snap or whiplash out of towing.
Well, that's cool. Now, those two bolts in front of the airbag with the bushings on, does that kind of act like a shock absorber, or what's their purpose?
So, because we will put air in the bag, it has to be captured. Otherwise, it would just keep expanding. So we've got to capture and stop the travel. These bolts stop the travel, and because they're rubber bushings on top, when they come back up to what I call park, it's a soft set rather than a jerk or a bang. It's a nice soft set, waiting for the next bump. Then it will resume its action of loading into the airbag. Every time you hit a big bump, it just loads into the airbag, comes back to home, waits for the next bump, does it again.
Oh, cool. So that's just a smooth way of controlling the travel. That's all it does. That's cool.
It's a travel limiter. It controls the travel.
Yeah, awesome. And then, you know, you can adjust air pressure in the bag for how much, you know, your load is and those kind of things, whether you want, you know, more cushion or less cushion or you know, just to dial it in for the weight you have on your trailer.
Right. And let's talk about that for a second. So there's some people that may have a 2-horse aluminum horse trailer. It almost should be a bumper pull, but it's a gooseneck, okay? But they still want the best ride they can possibly get. Well, how do they do that? They let the air pressure down. They'll maybe only run 10, 12, 13 pounds of air. They've got such a light trailer, but they still want the best ride for the horse, the best ride in the cab of the truck, and they want to absorb that energy. The next day, we've got a hotshot guy. He's pulling 28,000 pounds, right? He's got a big load and it's brutal. He may have to run 35, 40 pounds of air because he's pulling a heavier weight with more resistance and a sharper crack to it.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's good. It's adjustable. I mean, you can dial in what you're doing, what you're pulling.
Right.
I like that. I like that idea. Well, you got. I mean, we could go on for hours if we went into more products. We'll do that next time. Maybe we'll do the weight distributing hitch or one of those other things that you invented that it actually has a cushion and a weight distribution. But yeah, is there anything else you want to add?
Oh, I don't know. It's an upgrade. Oh yeah, one of the things that I probably should mention. So a lot of us, when we hook up our gooseneck trailers, we kind of misjudge the height of the trailer, and so when we back in, we crash the ball into the coupler. Happens a lot. I've done it many times. We put a guard on the front of this, so it protects the linkage.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, yeah, because it's a learned thing backing up to a trailer, especially a gooseneck.
Right, right.
You can't hardly look in the back seat anymore.
It's easy to miss. The other thing I might point out, if for some reason you do crash into it or wreck the linkage in some way, shape, or form, I don't know how it would happen, but it could. This just simply bolts on and off, and you can replace it. It's that simple.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, it is. The simpler, the better. That's, I'm getting older on the hills, and I need really simple things. If it's complicated, I just my brain freezes up. My heart rate's full. Well, that's cool. Then, and to find you, it's at shockerhitch.com. That's a simple website to remember. And and then you've got a lot of good videos there. Appreciate it. And you've got dealers all around the country. So, there's no way that's going to be hard to find one of these hitches. I mean, and you're not really, there are some hitch companies right now because of the virus that just are running out of parts, running out of everything, back ordered for a week to 2 months. And it's insane. Of course, same thing with ammunition, with hiking boots, with bicycles, with RV trailers. So, how are you doing? You've got enough supplies, or you got plenty of hitches?
Well, we are keeping up. Not telling you that we haven't had some issues. Supply issues mostly. But in reality, the business is just booming. We have done record sales the last 3 months.
Well, that's good. That means we might survive this virus, instead of everybody thinking they're going to go broke this year. But it may be, something we can make it through and then have a great year next year. So no, I appreciate that, and you make a great product. So this is awesome. So everybody knows where to go, shockerhitch.com, and they're also on mrtruck.com. But you got everything up there, and you can help them dial in what trailer matches your hitch and your bowls and your angle and your balls and your angle, and that's good. That's good. You got some new things, and we'll have another video and talk about some more cool stuff. Well, thanks, Bob. I appreciate you coming. And thanks, folks. Thanks for watching, and you'll see us next time. We'll try to do these every week. Of some new product out there, we're going to go out and look for them.
All right. Thank you.
You bet.